Coming up on this week's episode of Punt It Long, social media and football. How big of an impact does it have? Popcorn out, bun it's on, amusing news time. A fraud FC member is featured on this week's Bellend, and the usual chat about Dunfermline Athletic Football Club. Enjoy! So first up, social media and football. I've kind of been wanting to do this kind of topic for a good wee while now. I'm obviously going to try and chop it down a bit considering it's in an episode of Punt It Long and it's not its own episode. But I've always wanted to talk about it because obviously I do a form of it, and I do a form of it as well on my Instagram page, and I'm quite active on Twitter in terms of putting my opinions out there and stuff, and that really is what social media and football is about. Obviously that's to do with football fans, and particularly myself, but when it comes down to players and the club's official social media platforms and stuff like that, how detrimental can it be to how teams see that club that they're away to face at the weekend? The thing that kind of pulled me towards this was Arsenal and Tottenham in their recent game where Tottenham won the North London Derby in one of the cups. I can't remember the exact score, so I'm not even going to bother trying to guess it. But Tottenham won the game. It was the game that Dele Alli got hit on the head with a bottle, and sounds daft even saying that, doesn't it? That's the thing that I remember the game for. I can't even remember the score, I just remember violence. But the thing that kind of sparked this wee light bulb in my head to kind of talk about it in this episode was that Danny Rose came out after the game in an interview, one of the post-match interviews, and said that after the previous North London Derby where Arsenal won 4-2, because I remember that score, but Danny Rose came out after the recent North London Derby that Tottenham won at the Emirates and said that Arsenal's social media stuff after the previous Derby win sparked a bit of kind of spirit in the Tottenham side to go and put one over on them this time because of how badly Arsenal had bragged after winning the previous derby. And of course Arsenal are going to brag. Of course Arsenal fans, the social media, it's all going to go crazy when a derby win comes through. I'm sure the exact same will happen for either side between Dunfermline and Falkirk when whoever wins this weekend's derby, and Rangers and Celtic. It'll go either way. For whatever club wins, the social media of that club will come out and be really positive about the game. But what Danny Rose was pointing to here was that the social media that Arsenal did was kind of a bit much for them, and they wanted to go and show them that they could do it as well. They could go and get the win and then have their own rights to brag on social media and stuff like that. And social media is obviously a thing that's came in this sort of century, I suppose. It came in a bit after 2000, of course, but it really has sparked up since 2010 onwards, and a lot of it is now down to like players having their own personal profile on there and having their own persona outside of being a football player. You've seen it with players like Paul Pogba and stuff like that. It's maybe been more highlighted with him because of the kind of debacle with Jose Mourinho that he had. Perhaps now that he's not got Jose Mourinho at the shackles of him, then the weight might get lifted off of Pogba in terms of his social media output. But in general, players like him, they all have their own wee brand deals and stuff like that, and they're able to post whatever they want on social media. They're able to go out to the media and newspapers and stuff like that, and then that gets put over into social media as well, so everyone's able to see everything that you say. And you're going to get criticised for anything you say because you can't please everybody. And obviously the messages that Arsenal were putting out before was massively detrimental to how Tottenham came into the next game, because they just thought, well, we need to put one over on these lot because they're taking the mick here. So I want to know your opinion. Do you think that club football is really taking over in social media, and do you think that social media platforms give clubs a good or bad way to put across what works? For example, fan engagement is obviously a massive part of it, and I think that's one of the best things that clubs can do. But in terms of putting out statements and stuff like that, it can be massively detrimental on how other clubs end up seeing your club in the future, because they'll all remember that one statement you put out or something like that. Like the one that Ross MacArthur put out recently. Now every other fan in Scottish football and worldwide would have been able to see when that statement went up, and they would have had their own opinion on us, whereas previously, about 30-40 years ago, that might have just happened in a wee supporters meeting or something like that. So social media is kind of just completely blown up since 2010. But do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing, or do you have positives and negatives for it? It's that time of the week once again. Get the popcorn out, get the bunnets on. It's time for... So first up this week, Tony Ralston, Celtic player, was kinda criticising social media before the game last week, where he was obviously introduced into the Celtic lineup. Fans had their say on social media. As I mentioned before, social media in football, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Ralston ahead of Gamboa. What the is going on? Ralston is... And then Tony Ralston goes and scores the opening goal in Celtic vs Motherwell. You couldn't write it. Peter Crouchy, a good member of Good Guys FC, getting one over on Piers Morgan there. Piers Morgan, an Arsenal fan, Peter Crouch, pretty much a Tottenham fan, or at least a representative of Tottenham, and he got one over on there, and you've got to love a bit of Crouchy. And once again, you can buy Peter Crouchy's book at any of your local bookstores. I'm needing a sponsorship for this guy in the future. We all know about Pepe, the ex-Real Madrid centre-back. He was always known as a kind of dirty player, and one that would always go in flying for a tackle. Well, this week, he's done something fantastic. Pepe has agreed to cancel his own contract at Besiktas due to the club's financial problems. Before leaving, he reportedly helped the club out by paying some of the staff's wages. Touch of class. If that's true, if the reports are true on that one, fantastic. Pepe, always known as a bad guy on the pitch, but people can always show their class one way or another, and there's always two sides to every personality. Cracking story that. I wanted to include this one because it reminded me of when you got given Christmas cards at primary and you had your wee name on the front of it and the wee postcard and that, and it felt like a sense of like happiness when you got given one just because someone had actually thought of you to hand you a Christmas card. Aberdeen fan Kieran Burnett sent one to every single of his favourite Aberdeen players. He's got Graham Shinney, Niall, GMS, Bruce, and I'm pretty sure the top one just says Sai. He's even got wee nicknames for them, it's fantastic. Good on the wee boy. Getting in the Christmas spirit. Remember that Arsenal v Tottenham game I spoke about earlier in the episode with the social media and football topic? Well, here was the worst kick-off ever in that same game.
Following hot on the heels of the 183rd. Second meeting of these two in...
Who has ever kicked it into their opponent's half straight from the kick-off? He's literally passed it straight to Son. Arsenal just jacking the game in before they even started. NHS Fife put out a tweet just during the week there of Wraith Rovers visiting a wee Dunfermline fan in one of their NHS buildings, and it showed a nice wee clip. The Wraith Rovers guy asking if he's a Dunfermline fan. Well, he's got a Dunfermline kit on, of course he is. The wee guy agrees, and then the clip cuts off. But it failed to show the wee bit at the end there where he said, "We're going to scud you on January 19th. Fingers crossed. And that's it. Bunnets off, popcorn away, and that was... It's that time of the week once again when we do the part of the episode called... It's this guy's turn today. Jack Rodwell, signed for Blackburn in the summer, but of course before that he was basically stealing a wage off of Sunderland, and Sunderland themselves brought out a documentary on multiple media platforms recently, and a lot of people have been watching it since it's came out, and he got shown right up. Imagine signing for Blackburn and of course coming out with the usual shite basically about wanting to get back to playing football, I love the game, blah blah blah, and fair enough, he is playing football now, but this is the true reality of it. Playing for Sunderland and basically saying that, nah, I'm not going to play this week, I'm a hell. There's a reason why you're here, Jack, and it's not because I'm a Bellend, it's because you are. And there'll be new additions coming to Fraud FC in the near future. I'm going to do an end of year kind of introduction to both Good Guys and Fraud FC, so look forward to that. And as usual on Punt, I'll go full circling back to my team, Dunfermline. It's the big one this weekend, and of course I'm going to do a video sort of on the topic tomorrow. It's not going to be a proper Pars roundup like it used to be, but it's going to be a video kind of touching on the topic, and then of course the day will come and we'll go to the game and see what happens. The brilliant thing would be to win the game going into the new year with a win over them and beating them twice in their own patch in the league, but who knows? who knows what's going to happen. I'm just kind of praying, begging that we can get some form of result, because it'll turn absolutely poisonous, honestly. It's been a kind of weird month so far. Let's try and finish it off with a high. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But that's it for this episode, guys. Cheers for watching. If you did enjoy, please give it a like. Comment down below anything you think about the stuff I've said. Are you still enjoying the amusing news feature? I'm quite enjoying filming it, but I want to know if you're enjoying watching it, so let me know. And subscribe for more of this type of content. And until the next video, which will be that video that I just spoke about there tomorrow, I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.